Hi, I'm Andre, I'm a black nerd, gonna talk about another episode of Riverdale. What the hell, Riverdale, man? The season finale happened, so much happened, and oh my god! Am I underwater? Am I Cheryl Blossom right now?
I'm dragging you under.
No! Thank you so much. So awesome, man. Check us out on ScreenJunkies. We did a recap for the finale as well. Yeah. Trevor is there as well. Thank you so much, man.
Of course.
So, yeah, I'm a little weird because I usually see you dead. So this is like...
Yeah, it's weird for me to be walking around on 2 feet. But make sure to check out Andre's Riverdale recaps. They're great.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
pleasure.
Of course.
Pleasure. More dead for season 2. I'm all for it. Just keep that body going. Yeah, keep that body alive that's dead. What the hell, Riverdale? What the hell, Riverdale? Doobie-doobie-doo. Hi, I'm Andre, I'm a black nerd, and it's time once again, one final time for season 1. What the hell, Riverdale? Review Dale. A new episode of Riverdale aired. The season finale aired, and I gotta talk to you all about it. I got some feels from this episode. It was all nicely wrapped up in a little bow, and then some stuff happened to remind you that a season 2 is coming, and we may have some cliffhangers to get you ready for that. But let's start into this episode. So we found out in last week's episode that Clifford Blossom was the one who murdered Jason Blossom. Jason didn't want any part of the maple syrup business, which turned out to be the drug smuggling business. We find out that the maple syrup empire was a front to smuggle heroin from Canada into Riverdale, of all places. Makes sense to me. It's the town you least suspect, right? But while FP is still in jail, the Sheriff Keller's like, look, man, the drugs got out there. Clifford might have brought it in, but somebody's selling it, and I'm pretty sure it's a Southside serpent. So tell you what, you tell us who is selling these drugs, and we'll try to get you a lesser sentence. But FP, of course, has his loyalty to the serpents. He can't rat anybody out. He can't snitch, so he doesn't say anything, even though they keep dangling over FP's head. If you don't tell us what's going on, we can't help you. You might go to jail for several years, and you will not see your son Jughead again. What I liked about this, and particularly Jughead's reaction to all this, Jughead sees the situation that FP is in. FP has a loyalty to his son, but also has a loyalty to the serpents. And it's weird because Jughead kind of has a little bit of a respect for his dad. You can kind of see it in this episode, and you'll definitely see the respect when we talk about the end of this episode. But it was intriguing to see Jughead go through the situation and to hear his dad talk so well about Jughead, about how strong he'll be able to be throughout all this, how he'll be able to pull through. Even when Archie tries to go up to FP alone and say something so that you can be with Jughead again, because we don't want to lose him because he may have to go off to a foster home and not stay with us. FP's like, look, Jughead's cool, he's strong, and he's got you guys as his friends, so just stay with him because he can turn to the dark side. It is very possible for Jughead to do that, and that's what's going to be interesting, and particularly going into season 2, is will Jughead use this situation to go into the dark side? Because Jughead sees now, and they've talked about this a couple times in the show, he feels like there's no way he can win. And he's even in a situation now where he's living with his best friend and his dad in a happy home. He has a girlfriend. He's got friends around him. Everything seems to be going well. And yet still, it turns out that his father goes to jail. People don't like him. And it goes back to just the way it usually is for Jughead Jones, to the point where he's now starting to just accept it more. And that's what really happens when we see him going to the South Side. But I'll get into that in a little bit. Let's talk about some other stuff first. Let's talk about Jughead's girlfriend, Betty. Betty is really getting upset because after all this went down, all these revelations about the Blossoms being related to the Coopers, and Polly having a relationship with Jason Blossom, even though they're technically related, and she's pregnant, supposedly, but I still don't trust Polly Cooper in any kind of way. After all this gets revealed and it's all said and done, the family just goes back to being normal. Everything's fine. Hal's back home, Polly's back home, and Betty's like, this ain't right. We're turning back into that picture-perfect family that we know we're not, but pretending like we are. She wants to put more information out there, and she specifically wants to talk about the fact that everyone wants to put the blame on FP, even after it's already been known that Clifford Blossom was the one that killed Jason, and she wants to write an article about it, about how the Southside Serpents are being treated unfairly in the situation. Alice is even like, you can't do that. There's a lot of targets right now on the Serpents. The targets are also coming back the other way. You don't want to be in the middle of this. I can't print this in the paper. So Betty instead prints her story online, and it leads to this really interesting scene where she takes Polly to school, because Polly hadn't been to school in a long time, which leads to a scene that's not in the episode. You got to go online and watch it, but there's a deleted scene of Polly back in school, hanging out with Betty and Veronica, and guess who shows up to talk some smack? Asian dude, bro, Reggie. He's in the deleted scene, and it's so unfair because this is technically the last time we'll see him this way. He's getting recast for season 2. So it's like, man, the last Asian dude, bro, Reggie scene you had to throw as a deleted scene. You couldn't even put it in the show. That made me sad. So make sure you go check that out. Yeah, pay your respects to Asian dude, bro, Reggie. Because I'm gonna miss him. I hope they give me an Asian dude, bro, Reggie 2.0. But anyway, Betty writes this paper, she puts it online, and someone prints out a bunch of copies of the paper, plasters it to the wall in the school, and writes in pig blood, "Go to hell, serpent slut." This brought up a couple of things for me. First off, who finds pig blood? Who just randomly goes, I got some pig blood, let's do this. And here's the thing. So it says go to hell, serpent slut, and we're thinking, oh, it's because Betty wrote this article about the serpents being okay, that they shouldn't be blamed for everything, and because of her relationship with Jughead. But as of this moment, Jughead is not a serpent, his dad is. And we also know that Alice came from the Southside. She had a conversation with FP, and it was revealed that she used to roll with the Southside. She used to possibly be part of the serpents, and her and FP kind of also have this weird conversation where you're just like, did y'all have like a thing back in the day that I didn't know about before she met Hal? But clearly she had her run on the South Side. So, go to hell, serpent slut message plastered on the school wall. Was that directed at Betty because she wrote the article? Or was that directed at Betty's mom because Betty's trying to be like, the serpents are innocent? And we're like, well, sure you think that because your mom used to roll with the serpents and this is what she used to do back in the day. And that message was for her mom, not for Betty. What do you think? And then Alice has even more. She sits Betty down because Betty keeps saying, what other secrets you got? What was that whole conversation that we had at the dinner table with FP and Hal about where you had the argument when you were in high school? What's going on? And Alice finally reveals to Betty that before she was born and before Polly was born, Alice was pregnant with a child with Hal back in high school. They had an argument about what to do with it, and she went to the same place where she sent off Polly when Polly got pregnant, and then she gave the baby up quietly for adoption. So it wasn't an abortion, it was an adoption. So that means this child was born and that Betty has an older brother that's out there that she doesn't even know. Chick Cooper is a character written in Archie comics as the older brother of Polly and Betty. And I think in the comics, he's like a secret agent, like a government agent. So it'd be funny if they brought that into the storyline. I'm also interested to see if they'll actually keep the name Chick Cooper because that's a random name to call somebody. My name's Chick. And let's not forget, Blossoms and Coopers are related. So this Chick Cooper is also technically a Blossom. So I'm really interested in what's gonna happen with that. I just feel in Hollywood right now, there's a bunch of 20-something-year-old blonde males who are sprucing up their resume and sending it over to the Riverdale office right now. Here's my question about that child though. Are we sure that's Hal and Alice's child? Because we know that Alice had a little back time with them Southside serpents and it seems like she and FP may have had a little thing. So could that child be Hal and Alice's child? Or maybe it's Alice and FP's child. So Betty's mom comes clean to Betty about having this child. Veronica also wants to come clean to Betty because now that they've solved that pesky murder, she now wants to reveal to Betty that she and Archie are kind of having a thing. And Archie is like, I don't know about that. The last time I told Betty I was seeing somebody, it didn't go over too well. So don't think this is a good idea. I particularly love that when Veronica finally decided to tell Betty she had to stand up at the lunch table to do so. That just was really cute for Veronica to do that. And look at Archie's face when Veronica is about to tell Betty that they are dating. Archie has this like, it was killing me, man, because he was like, no, don't do that. And in typical Riverdale fashion, everyone's like, I'm fine. Veronica's like, I'm fine. Betty's like, I'm cool with it. Archie's like, yeah, I'm fine. You ain't fine. The feelings are still possibly there. There's even a moment where Archie almost reveals like he's gonna say something about how he still thought there might have been some opportunity with Betty, even though he was the one that said there wasn't no opportunity with Betty when the show started, but then she cuts him off. It's like, you can feel there's something still going on there. And then there's this one moment where Archie looks at Betty and Jughead, and Veronica even notices it and calls him out on it. It's like, why are you looking at them? You still have a thing for Betty? He's like, no, I was just looking at them because they look like soulmates, and I hope that for us as well. Smooth Archie Andrews. Yeah, whatever, buddy. Nice save. Someone else interested in the Archie-Veronica relationship happens to be Veronica's mother, Hermione, because Hermione is trying to convince Archie's dad, Fred, to sell his business to her now that Hiram Lodge is coming back home, because she knows that when Hiram comes back, he's probably not going to get along with Fred too well, especially since Fred and Hermione kind of had a short-term fling for a little bit. And now that Archie is dating his daughter Veronica, I feel like that's probably not going to go over too well with Hiram as well, which would make sense because that is a mainstay in the Archie comics. Hiram Lodge in the comics does not like Archie. He always feels like Veronica can do better than him, and I feel like that's gonna carry over into this TV show as well. And this will be good for Fred because he's having financial troubles. That's the reason why Jughead has to go live with a foster family. They want to try to keep him, but a social worker comes in and says, sorry, because you don't have a fit income, and because Fred Andrews turns out has a DUI from back in the day, they are seen as an unfit home for Jughead, so he has to move back to the Southside, live with a foster family, and go to a different school in the Southside. And you know that this Southside school is a bad school because it got graffiti everywhere, it's got metal detectors and security guards, and the worst thing of all, it has a payphone. You know a school is not right when there's a payphone right by the front door. That's gonna be my thing now. If I ever walk into a building and I see a payphone, I'll be like, let's get out of here. We're gonna get shot here. But even with this need for money, Fred Andrews does not want to pay because he feels like it's just him getting out of his own business, and also for Hermione to keep doing whatever dirty things she does. He even comes to her at one point at the Jubilee that they have in this episode and is like, Riverdale's at a crossroads, and maybe you are too. Maybe you need to decide which side you want to be on. And I'm like, are we still talking about the business, or are we talking about her and Hiram versus her and you? You know y'all children are dating right now. So there's this one point where Hermione goes up to Veronica and is like, hey, you know, I heard you dating Archie. Why don't you convince Archie to talk to his dad about selling the business? And Veronica jokes, oh yeah, I'll use my art of seduction and my sexual ways to convince him to do that. And Hermione's like, yeah, do that. And Veronica's like, I'm just kidding. She's like, yeah, but you should do that. And it's very interesting to see Hermione. It seems like now that all the information has come out about Jason Blossom's murder and that Hiram is coming home, that innocent Hermione is starting to really unravel more and more to prove that she might not be as innocent as suspected. Even Hiram even said that to Veronica in a letter once. Don't trust your mom. She's not as innocent as she seems. Because with Hiram gone, Hermione has been able to basically craft the story of herself on her own without any questioning. She's been able to say, Hiram's in jail, Hiram did this, Hiram did that. We're just trying to survive and do our own thing. But now that Hiram's coming back, it's really gonna be interesting to see if Hiram is the big bad that it's been claimed, if Hermione is nervous or worried and maybe have been doing some bad things to make sure that Hiram doesn't come in to do the really bad things. Or is he just kind of the front and Hermione is really the bad person doing a bunch of stuff? Like in season 2, are we gonna be looking at Hiram and be like, oh, you're evil, then come to find out, oh, actually no, this person over here, that's the real evil right there. Freaking Jurassic Park Reptar. Freaking Jurassic Park Raptor right now. I said I was supposed to say Reptar. I say Rugrats. Jurassic Park Raptor right now. Where you think the person in the front is the bad person and then the one on the side is the one that gets you. Clever girl. So I'm keeping my eye on you, Hermione. Particularly after the end of this episode, which I'm gonna get to because So when Jughead has to go to this Southside school, his friends feel like they need to go rescue him, but what they find out is that Jughead is sitting quite comfortably in the Southside school and he's joking and laughing and feeling good. It proves that in the South Side, Jughead doesn't feel as weird and abnormal as he did when he was up in Riverdale. He feels like he's around his people. But then all that has to get put to the wayside because Cheryl tries to kill herself. Yes, Cheryl Blossom has lost it in this episode. She got rid of her red lipstick. She's wearing all black when she's usually wearing white. She's giving up her position in the cheerleading squad as the head cheerleader to Veronica. She's giving her possessions away to Jughead. She doesn't want to go to school. Everything is pointing to the signs that we might be getting 13 reasons why Cheryl Blossom's about to kill herself. And the nail on the coffin, pardon the phrase, is that she sends a text message to Veronica saying, thanks for all your help, but I'm going to be with Jason now. So they run over to Sweetwater River where it's all frozen right now and she's on the ice and they look at her and she looks back at them and then a drop. She put a hole inside the ice and fell through to drown herself. Archie does the greatest run I've ever seen where he's just like flailing so hard, his arms are like flapping in the breeze. And this moment for Archie was just so amazing. This is the most Archie of Archie moments, just like the straight up Archie, the hero that we know from the comics. This is his moment because he runs out there, he sees where Cheryl is, he figures out that she's even moved a little bit because of the current, and just bashes his hand into that ice. When that preview showed and we were like, what is Archie punching? He's punching ice. He's trying to punch his hand through the ice to save Cheryl. And there is blood, and I mean a lot of blood. And this is on a television show. I've seen PG-13 movies with multiple deaths with not as much blood as this one scene in Riverdale. Before Logan, Wolverine didn't even show this much blood when he was stabbing people with his animated claws. And yet Archie is punching through ice and there is blood everywhere. And then I read in an article that the actor, KJ Apa, he actually broke his hand doing this. He was dedicated to saving Cheryl, that he actually broke his hand in real life. But you just see him bashing, and then finally it breaks through, saves Cheryl, and Cheryl is taken home to Veronica's place, which even Hermione's like, what's she doing here? And then there's a point where Hermione and Cheryl kind of look at each other, and I'm like, wait a second, because, you know, Cheryl, she don't really have much going on right now as far as money goes because they've been busted. Lodge got that money. Blossoms and Lodges, you know, have worked together. That Blossom's been paying Lodges before. Could this be the start of Cheryl Blossom kind of making her way into the Lodge territory and doing the things that maybe Veronica won't do? What the hell, Riverdale? Then there's this whole Jubilee celebration that Mayor McCoy wants to put on to, again, kind of cover up what's going on in Riverdale, make sure everyone's happy and hunky-dory and the town looks great for its 75 years around. 75 years, a very interesting year to decide to do for Riverdale being around, almost like a certain comic that you're based on has been around for 75 years. So Mayor McCoy wants Archie and Betty to do a presentation at this Jubilee, but Mayor McCoy doesn't want Jughead involved at all because he's a serpent and his dad's in jail. She wants to keep it all nice and pure, but Betty thinks that's wrong because Jughead's a part of this, and she gets mad about, once again, Riverdale trying to cover up the fact that it's got some darkness in it and instead trying to pretend like it's the best town in the world and everything's hunky-dory. So Archie was supposed to perform with Josie and the Pussycats, but he was writing the song earlier that Josie was like, you can't perform that. But then when Josie finds out that Archie saved Cheryl, she's like, I got your back, buddy. You can sing this song. And the Pussycats sing with them, and I'm a little upset because the Pussycats actually walk in on Archie and Veronica kissing. And by the Pussycats, I mean also Valerie, who dated Archie like a couple episodes ago. And Valerie does not have any kind of response whatsoever to Archie dating Veronica. And I'm not saying that Valerie was supposed to be like mad at her or anything like that. I just would have loved to see if Valerie was just like, you know what, Archie, we had our thing. We got passionate because of the music or whatever, but we cool, we friends. I'm over you. We're done. Have fun with Veronica. You know, just something to just patch that up, because you see him on stage performing and Valerie's off by herself. Everyone else is singing on a microphone together. Archie's in the front and center and Valerie's just pressing that keyboard like, no one's gonna ask her how I feel about this? No, okay. I'm just going to keep playing the keyboard then. Okay, that's fine. That's right. I'm just a pussycat. Okay, I understand. No, don't ask Valerie how she feels. Let's not get Valerie's backstory, okay? You know, I just saw the guy I used to date kiss some other girl that's now on stage singing with us, and I don't have nothing to say about this. Can I at least just say I'm cool with it? Can Valerie say something? And Melody's like, yeah, can I be next in line? Please show more Josie and the Pussycats in season 2. Okay, now that you know you're getting the second season, please put them more in the story. Don't just use them as props for music performances all the time. I want to see them in the story. Especially because Mayor McCoy, man, she got a little bit of secrets herself, man. I think there's some more to Mayor McCoy we're not seeing. Because she seems so determined to make it seem like Riverdale is perfect. But we know that she did some dirty dealings with Hermione Lodge back in the day to get that drive-in land. So she ain't perfect, and she's got political power. And especially if someone like Hiram is coming in and he's got power with money power versus political power, or maybe if money power and political power start becoming friends, that's some good stuff. And that could put Josie in the middle of things that she don't want to be in, and that could give her a storyline. Which I would like. And then Betty goes up to do a speech for the Jubilee, and she was supposed to give that nice, like, Riverdale is perfect speech, and she just freaking unleashes truth on everybody. She's all like, stay woke, Riverdale. Here's what's going down. We got some darkness in here, and we're at a crossroads, and we need to decide, do we want to be the Riverdale that we should be, or the Riverdale that we claim that we are, but we aren't? Tell him, Betty. Tell him, Betty Cooper. And Mayor McCoy did not like that. Everyone's clapping and standing up and cheering, and Mayor McCoy's just like, you get on my stage and give that speech? Okay. I remember that, Betty Cooper. You on my list. Everyone's happy. Hugs are around. Archie, Jughead, Betty, Veronica getting milkshakes. And Archie and Veronica like, hey, you know what, Archie, my mom might be asleep on some Valium right now. And Jughead and Betty's like, well, Jughead's place is by himself now because his dad's in jail. We got some privacy. Archie and Veronica like, we gonna go this way? And then Jughead and Betty's like, we gonna go this way? And then Imagine Dragons start playing, and I'm thinking a commercial for Nintendo Switch is about to start, but instead, I get some Archie and Veronica makeout and some Betty and Jughead makeout. First things first, everybody, Archie comics getting laid. And I thought it was an interesting juxtaposition because Veronica, who in the past was supposedly a bad girl, is now having this sweet, intimate moment with Archie. They're slowly kissing, and they're slowly taking their clothes off, and they're slowly lying back on the bed to do their thing. Betty, however, goody two-shoes, nice Betty, that dark Betty kind of got in her again, because she's like getting slammed across the kitchen by Jughead, and she's like ripping clothes off, and they're just making out passionately, and man, things are going good. Archie and Veronica, they go all the way to the morning. Everything works out great for them. Betty and Jughead, however, get a little interruption from the Southside Serpents, or should I call them the Southside Sea Blockers, because right when they're in the middle of things, the Serpents show up and they're like, hey Jughead, thank you for your dad, because he didn't rat out on any of us. He could have named names, but he didn't, and so because of that, we want to bring you in and let you know that you're family, and we will take care of you while your dad is in jail. We got your back. And then they give him a Southside Serpents jacket. And this is like literally one of the best scenes of this episode, if not the entire show of Riverdale, where Jughead takes the jacket, kind of looks at it, you're thinking he's probably gonna be like, no, I'm good, I got my girlfriend, I'm gonna turn a new leaf, I'm not gonna go in my dad's footsteps, do my own thing. Then he smiles at that jacket, and that power of that jacket starts getting close, and then that Southside Serpent's jacket gets on his back. He's all like, yeah, look at me, I'm a badass now. And then he looks over at Betty, and Betty just has this horrified look like, what the hell, Riverdale? And Jughead looks back like, yeah, so this is gonna be a thing now. I know I made my jokes about Bughead, but I was like, you know what, I'm feeling this now. Maybe has lasting power. Then that jacket came on, I was like, oh, damn. Oh, damn. And we saw Hot Dog in that scene. That was really cool. Hot Dog, Jughead's dog was in that. And, oh my God, Jughead ate a burger in this episode. Like, full-on burger to face. Then Cheryl burns her house down in the most dramatic way possible. Like, most people would just, like, light a thing on fire. She's got a freaking candelabra. She's got freaking, the dude from Beauty and the Beast in her hand. Be our guest. Vroom. Yeah, she's like, we gotta start over from scratch. We got too much dirt on us, so we're starting over from scratch. So she takes her mom out of the house and burns the entire house. And I don't know what's gonna happen to them, because now they ain't got no house. Man, but Cheryl, I'm telling you, man, I think that we've seen Cheryl be kind of bad in this season, but I think we're gonna get some hardcore Cheryl in season 2. We're gonna get that comic book Cheryl Blossom for reals. And just when you think it's done, just when you think Riverdale is over, Archie wakes up in the morning with Veronica. He's like, I gotta go. My dad's calling me, wants to meet me at Pops. Usually when he wants to talk to me at Pops, it's something important. So he goes over to Pops to meet his dad. He says, I gotta go wash my hands. Then he comes back out, and there's a guy trying to rob Pops. Pops, the one place in Riverdale that hasn't had any trouble, has been nice and sweet and like sacred ground, has a robber in there with a gun at Pop Tate's head, and then Fred Andrews stands up and the robber literally stops his robbery to go, oh, this looks like a person I should shoot. And Archie tries to run out, and then they show a cut of the outside of Pops and you hear the gunshot, and I thought that was gonna end the episode right there, and I was like, oh man, you gonna do that to us? But instead they cut back inside, we see the robber take off, and we see Fred on the ground. He's been shot. He's not dead, but he's holding a blood wound. But he's holding his gunshot wound. Archie's got him cradled in his lap. And then it ends right there. Cliffhanger. Not cliffhanger like episode 12, but different cliffhanger, where we don't know if Archie's dad is going to survive this gunshot. And let's talk about this right quick. Okay, so this guy comes in to rob Pop's place, shoots Fred and runs away, but do you notice when you watch the episode that there was money all over the ground? Did he even take any money with him? I don't think this was a random incident. Even Jughead says in the voiceover that this was something that happened that was anything but random. This was a hit. This was an absolute hit on Fred Andrews, and it has to be with the fact that he did not sell his company. So who took out that hit? Did Hermione do it? Did Hiram do it? Who knows, man? But something ain't right here for Fred Andrews to not want to give up his business and then all of a sudden get shot at Pop Tate's. Someone knew that he was there. And the reason why I kind of suspect Hermione, we know Hermione knew that Archie was there with Veronica. Come on. We know that she knew that. So that seemed like the perfect time to set everything up to make it happen where Fred would be by himself at Pop's to take him out. Something's going down. There's some logic behind this. I feel it. But somehow, some way, Fred was meant to be shot in this scenario. This was not an accident. This was a setup. He's been had. What the hell, Riverdale? What the hell, Riverdale? But I appreciate the Scooby-Doo reference that they did. And then when they talk about solving the murder, he would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those pesky kids. And I love the quick Breakfast Club homage when they were running down the hallway. They did a little slide. There's still so many loose ends though about Polly and these kids and how I still don't trust Polly. And now I'm not even trusting if she's pregnant a little bit. I talked to Sasha a few times and now I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree with you. I don't think she's pregnant. Miss Grundy, where the hell did she go? You know, we had this whole setup with her. She's got to come back somehow in season 2. That would be a waste. I really doubt that they would set so much up with her to not pay it off later. If they did, that was a waste. So I'm wondering if she's going to somehow make her way back in season 2. And even though we heard of why Clifford killed Jason Blossom, I still feel like there's some stories of Jason Blossom pre-murdered that we still don't really know all the full details about. So even though there might be some new mysteries or some new things to deal with, I feel like there's still some elements of Jason Blossom that may still come back in season 2. That we might learn a little bit more about what was going on with the Blossom family prior to all this going down. So there's a lot to uncover. I heard a rumor that season 2 is not going to be 13 episodes. I heard it's going to be like 22 episodes. It's going to be a full season. So I'm going to have a lot of work cut out for me. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I don't know if I'm ready. My Thursday nights are shot. Ooh, shot. Sorry, bad choice of words. Sorry, Archie's dad. This was fun, man. I just have to say, just candidly, man, like I really enjoyed doing these, and I really enjoyed every single one of you who have been watching these. I know a lot of you watch the show, and that's why you watch these recaps. I know that some of you don't even watch the show, but just watch the recaps because you love the enthusiasm that I give you about the show, and I appreciate that. This has really been a lot of fun. I mean, it goes without saying, if you keep with the YouTube knownness, if you know what's going on in the world of YouTube, YouTube's kind of in a weird place right now for individual creators like myself. And there's some things that everyone's kind of looking at and going, what's our future? What do we want to do with this place? Both from a business standpoint as well as a creative standpoint. And I'm definitely going through some of that, which I'll talk about in future videos. But I have to say, with all these thoughts, one of my happiest moments of doing any of this has been doing these videos, these recaps. This is something that was completely unexpected. I've always been a fan of Archie comics growing up. It's been nice to be able to have a TV show to talk about that's based on something that I personally grew up with. I mean, I love Marvel, I love DC, I love all those things, but just my connections with the comic version of those characters are not as strong as the TV shows and movies I grew up with those characters. With Archie, I've always been reading the comics, with the classic comics. I'm starting to read the new ones now. And to have this show to talk about and to have people like you to watch it, it just means so much. I really, really do appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. I don't know how I'm going to do season 2 if it ends up being longer. I'm going to figure out the best, more effective way to do it because it does take a lot of work to make these, but I have enjoyed them. So I'm going to figure out what's the best way to handle Riverdale when season 2 decides to pop up. But I just have to say that this was a lot of fun. And I just thank every single one of you who watch these, and I particularly thank those of you who understand that the reason why I do this is because this is something I truly want to talk about, and that is why you come to this channel. It's not to get the same thing that everyone else is doing all the time, but to know that sometimes you're going to get the thing that Andre wants to do because Andre wants to do it, and you want to see the passion from it. And I'm sorry I refer to myself in third person, but you know what I'm trying to say. I just really do appreciate those who have been loyal enough to watch these and appreciative of the fact that this is something I really want to have fun with and be passionate about and do that for you. So thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you, Riverdale. Thank you, CW. Thank you to all the Riverdale writers who share my videos. I see those retweets. I appreciate that. Any of the cast people, if you know me or don't know me, thank you anyway for making this show and being a part of this show. And I just look forward to more. Thank you so much. And if you are new here, please subscribe. I really would appreciate that. Ring that bell as well so you be notified of future videos that I make. And hopefully, if you were just coming here for Riverdale, you will check out my other videos so you can see what other stuff I talk about as well. Thank you so much. I love you like a play cousin. I'm Audi 5000. Chain chomp. Yomp. What the hell, Riverdale? What the hell, Riverdale? Dooba-dooba-doo, dooba-dooba-doo. What the hell, Riverdale? I look forward to Sabrina in season 2. We getting that, right?